Coming up on WFT's First at 5, ethics allegations involving local charter school conversions, the response from Newberry leaders accused of violating sunshine laws.
And a much-needed resources no longer being offered to Gainesville's most vulnerable neighbors. Why St. Francis houses say they can no longer provide daily meals.
And today we have seen severe weather sweep across the area. We'll let you know when drier and cooler weather returns to the forecast straight ahead. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
The storms have cleared out, but not before leaving behind several inches of rain. This is WFT's First at 5. I'm Charlize Ramos.
And I'm Rafael de los Santos. At the storm's peak, much of north central Florida was under a severe thunderstorm warning and tornado watch, but those have been canceled or expired. Due to today's severe weather, Marion County Public Schools canceled all athletic games and practices. The Gator softball game was postponed due to the weather, and the line of storms that moved through brought tornadoes and destruction from Ohio to Alabama. Taking a look at the UF weather radar, you can see how the storms are moving off into the Atlantic, but there are some stray showers hitting parts of the area.
And a live look at the wet roads on I-75 from our DO2 camera. You can see the dark clouds over I-75. Some parts of north central Florida saw some heavy downpours and strong winds. And while you can put away the raincoat, you'll be needing to bring your jacket back out. UF forecaster Derrah is here tracking the cool down behind the rain.
The heaviest of rain is now beginning to move offshore. We still have some steady showers moving over Palatka and St. Johns County right now, right over St. Augustine. We also have some moderate rainfall now moving out of Marion County and into Putnam County, with the heavier rainfall sitting right over Palatka. Now, we have racked up a decent amount of rain just south of Stark, almost 3.5 inches in the last 24 hours, over 1.5 inches of rain south of Lake City, and then almost 2 inches of rain for northern Alachua County, 2.5 inches of rain just south of Perry. We're still seeing those gloomy skies out over Century Tower right now. Here's looking east. You can see that rain still coming down in the background. Wind speeds are also pretty high right now, with wind speeds around 10 miles per hour, gusts even higher. We'll talk about the timing of this rain and when we'll see sunnier conditions coming up.
Gainesville Homeless Shelter is stopping daily meal services. We've been telling you for the last few months about the financial struggles surrounding St. Francis House. WFT's Alex Land joins us live from the shelter. Alex, you've been following what they say are tough decisions they have to make for the homeless community.
St. Francis House announced the cut in a news release earlier this week. The homeless shelter says an uptick in operational expenses makes meal services unaffordable. Urgently needing support. That's how St. Francis House Executive Director Lori Schiffbauer describes the state of her homeless shelter. I spoke with her last month about the shelter's struggles and the difficulties that lie ahead.
There's got to be funding so that we can get all those providers in place to guarantee that they're safe.
Schiffbauer says the rise of inflation and the cost of living caused a 30% increase in day-to-day costs. At the State of the City address earlier this year, Mayor Harvey Ward set aside $700,000 to combat homelessness.
We've right-sized the city's budget and determined the best use of more than $32 million in American Rescue, or ARPA, funds from the Biden administration.
Schiffbauer says the funds are mainly being allocated towards safe campgrounds when they could be more effective elsewhere.
Given a choice, can we have $700,000 to help get those people permanently housed, or $700,000 to build a campground? I want them housed.
The organization is requesting donations to help families experiencing homelessness. The daily meals are scheduled to end on April 15th. To learn more about volunteering with or donating to St. Francis House, visit our website at WUFT.org. Reporting live in Gainesville, Alex Land, WUFT News.
Earlier today, Attorney General Ashley Moody gave a report at the Marion County Sheriff's Office on securing the future success of Florida. She said this report was the first of its kind in the nation.
Why Florida is enacting these policies, why we're focused on organized retail theft, why we're focused on making sure we're calling out those that aren't prosecuting the laws that the legislature is giving them, why we're making sure we're so strenuously supporting law enforcement with a statewide Back the Blue campaign, right? And this is directly tied to some of the figures that the Chamber has provided to us today.
Moody touched on the different policies Florida has been supporting to build stronger and safer communities. She talked about how these initiatives don't only concern the criminal justice system, but also commerce in the state. With Florida leaders making decisions to protect the well-being of citizens, Moody says that it is attracting more people to move to the Sunshine State. Leaders from the Florida Sheriff's Association and the Florida Chamber of Commerce were also there to give reports. Police in Ocala need your help identifying a trio of suspects accused of using a stolen credit card. Police are offering a $3,000 reward if your tip leads to an arrest. Officials ask you to call Detective Williams if you recognize any of the 3 people on your screen, or you can submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers in Marion County by calling or submitting online.
Save Our Schools Newberry members say the mayor and one city council member engaged in ethical violations. They expressed their concerns at a press conference about the potential Newberry charter school conversions. WUFT's Kennedy Chambers is live in the studio with specifics surrounding the frustration and debate when it came to what they describe as sunshine law violations.
At the conference, co-chair Tyler Forrest announced ethical complaints are being filed against Mayor Jordan Marlowe and City Commissioner Rick Coleman. Sunshine State laws require government agencies to maintain transparency and disclose activities to the public. They say they have evidence these laws have been violated. As voting for the Newberry charter conversion gets closer, parents against the conversion say they are finding more inconsistencies and problems in the planning.
On February 29th, Commissioner Coleman texted the group regarding his potential vote on the charter schools.
He says communication in that manner without disclosing to the public is a violation. So, Save Our Schools co-chair Tyler Forrest says the group filed 3 ethical complaints, calling out Mayor Jordan Marlowe and Commissioner Rick Coleman.
Mayor Marlowe has been communicating with the City Commission regarding items on the agenda in clear violation of Sunshine Law.
Tyler says they worry about a potential misuse of government resources, time, and taxpayer money.
State law is clear. Elected leaders cannot discuss items with each other that may come back before the board for a vote in the foreseeable future. Just days earlier, Mayor Marlowe asked for the staff to review the Yes Campaign's so-called feasibility study without a vote of the commission and bring it back in 3 weeks.
WUFT News reached out to Commissioner Coleman regarding the accusations. His response? They are reaching at best. I haven't violated any ethics or the Sunshine Law. Have a great evening. Mayor Marlowe also responded.
I understand that there are a handful of people who are really upset and they're grasping at straws and looking for a conspiracy, but I hope that anybody who reads through the complaint that they filed actually sees that all of those emails confirmed exactly what these parents have said all along.
Voting will begin on Friday and runs through April 12th. Results will be released on April 17th. Live in the studio, Kennedy Chambers, WUFT News.
An unexpected amount of fuzzy caterpillars are taking over Gainesville. It's around this time of the year when tussock moth caterpillars are maturing and falling from trees. These caterpillars are easily recognized by the short hair pencils just behind their heads. Although they seem harmless, University of Florida IFAS senior biological scientist Lyle Buss advises against touching them.
It has hairs that have a venom gland attached to them, so if they touch the skin, at least in some folks, they may cause some irritation, some contact dermatitis.
Buss says although they may be annoying now, the caterpillars won't be here for long. He also says in a few weeks they'll turn into these moths in much smaller numbers.
UF students will have to hold on to their grad caps and cameras for another 2 weeks while Ben Hill Griffin Stadium undergoes maintenance. UAA officials say the stadium will be closed until April 15th to prepare for the Orange and Blue game. The game will kick off on April 13th at 1 p.m. and admission is free. Students can access the stadium and field for graduation photos from April 16th through the 25th. And a solar eclipse is going to be seen across 15 states in less than a week. We'll tell you what that means for the North Central Florida community.
Plus, a local high school gets a massive sponsor after winning an engineering award. We'll tell you who the sponsor is and what this means for the school when First at 5 returns. Stay with us.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
We are just days away from a historic total eclipse of the sun, and everyone from astronomers to schools to business owners are getting prepared for the rare event. WUFT's Natasha Holt is live from UF's Astronomy Observatory.
A complete solar eclipse will sweep across the nation on Monday afternoon. The moon will pass between the Earth and the sun, casting its shadow on our planet. Though Florida is not in the path of totality, there are still ways to view this event in which the moon will appear to be taking a bite out of the sun. Moving from Texas to Maine, the moon's shadow will bring a few minutes of darkness to those in the path. NASA officials say the path of totality will be almost double the width that it was for the eclipse in 2017 and will cover an area in which 31.6 million people live. It will move across North America in less than 2 hours, traveling at more than 1,500 miles per hour. Those in the Gainesville area will be able to view the partial eclipse between 1:45 and 4:18 Monday afternoon. But the best time to view is at 3, when about 70% of the sun will be covered. The sun is currently at a solar maximum, which will allow those in the path of totality to better view the sun's atmosphere.
The sun itself is going through this magnetically active time period. It has these solar maximum and solar minimum cycles, and right now we're in a maximum where we have more activity and more complexity in the solar corona.
Safety is one of the biggest concerns when viewing a solar event. NASA recommends viewing with eclipse-safe glasses, but there are other ways to view without them.
Now, if you don't have solar viewing glasses, then what you can do is you can create a projector which projects the sun's image onto a piece of paper or the ground, or you can even take a piece of paper with holes punched in it, which makes a pinhole camera that allows you to see the sun, the crescents cast onto the ground.
There will be free viewing events at the observatories of Santa Fe College and the University of Florida, where you'll be able to safely view the eclipse. Astronomers and researchers will be hosting a free solar eclipse viewing event right here at the UF Observatory on Monday afternoon. They'll be giving out solar viewing glasses and will have telescopes ready to look at the sun. Reporting live in Gainesville, Natasha Holt, WUFT News.
Let's take a look at what local school districts are doing for the eclipse on April 8th. Bradford and Alachua County say they are protecting students and staff by not allowing any outside activity after 1:30 on Monday afternoon. The school district will still have regular dismissal and instructing students to not look at the sun. If parents choose to check out their child after noon, the absence is excused with a parent note. Any questions should be directed to your child's school.
Gainesville robotics team is about to compete on the world stage for its unique way of helping the community. The Roaring Riptide team from PK Young is being sponsored by NASA after winning its Engineering Inspirational Award. The team's focus is creating free technology that increases accessibility to people with disabilities. The team has assembled interactive toys, phone cases, and clipboards, bringing conveniences to the disabled community. Through the sponsorship and award, the team will go on to compete in Texas at the World Championship competition in April. The team will display a robot it's been working on.
Of course, we build robots, but like I said before, the robots are the ones that form us into who we are as human beings, and we just want to make a positive impact on our world and our community, one step at a time.
The team hopes to increase awareness for more access and inclusion at the competition.
Drivers with suspended or points on their license can attend a driver's license clinic this Saturday. Lawyers will be at the Darby Pavilion in Lake City from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. giving advice specific to each person's situation. The clinic is free for anyone to attend. You can register for the clinic through the Columbia Tax Collector Office. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is having a license-free fishing weekend. This will allow those who do not have a fishing license to experience fishing without having to purchase a license. The license requirement will be waived for all recreational fishing and will include both residents and non-residents.
Front move through, bringing a line of strong storms. Now, temperatures are already over 10 degrees cooler than they were this time yesterday. We'll talk about the cooler weather on the way and drier conditions on the other side of this break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The main line of showers and thunderstorms is now farther south of our area. We see some heavy rain still moving off the coast of St. Augustine over Casacola and Butler Beach, stretching over to Hastings, and just some moderate rainfall over Barden just to the north of Palatka. But overall, we're just left with those scattered showers, nothing strong or severe. Now, we did get a couple of storm reports up and down the state today. We had some reports of gusty winds that have knocked over trees, and we even got a report of some hail just south of Stark earlier, just some pea-sized hail. We'll continue to see those scattered showers linger in the area through the evening. I do think that this overdoes it with coverage. It'll be a lot less rain than this is showing, and then we'll be completely dry after 11 or 12 o'clock late tonight. Now, those winds will be primarily out of the west, and that's going to lead to some moderate temperatures this evening. You can see those skies starting to clear up, looking west toward the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Temperatures right now sitting in the upper 60s. Thanks to all of that cloud cover, we're not really able to warm up much this evening. Wind gusts are around 20 miles per hour here in Gainesville and out along the coast, 10 miles per hour for the Nature Coast. So we're starting to see those wind speeds begin to slow down. Here's where that front is now, right over central Florida right now, and that rain starting to lighten up on the back end, but those winds are going to remain a little bit elevated behind the front. So temperatures will drop into the mid 60s later on this evening. Right now we're at 67 in Gainesville, 66 in Bronson, and 68 in the Villages. The rest of this evening, rain tapers off, cloud cover begins to decrease, and then we're cool and we're calm late tonight. Lows tonight are going to be in the low 50s for Alachua and mid 50s for Marion counties. Tomorrow, night and day difference. We're looking at mostly sunny skies. Will only warm up into the upper 60s tomorrow. And for the eclipse on Monday, we are looking at a few clouds around that could obstruct the view just a little bit. So if you're traveling to other places, we are looking at general cloud cover, so that might obstruct your view just a little bit. But other than that, we're entering a dry stretch of weather, cooler temperatures to start the weekend, and then we'll slowly make our way back into the upper 80s by this time next week.
Coming up next on WFT News, Florida baseball has struggled with midweek games this season, but last night they had an opportunity to right the ship. The Gators hosted the Florida A&M Rattlers last night in an absolute shootout. We'll have a full recap of this matchup and plenty more after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome in. Hope you're staying dry out there. I'm Bradley Shimel, and it's time to talk sports. Florida baseball has done well on the weekends this season, but their kryptonite has been the midweek games. Last night, the Gators held a 3-5 record in midweek games, but they had a chance at redemption as they hosted Florida A&M. It was a bullpen game for the Gators, and as the common theme has been, runs were scored by both teams early and often. Both teams combined for 6 runs in the first inning, and the scoring did not stop there. The Rattlers jumped out to a 6-3 lead in the third inning, but Florida forged ahead with 4 runs of their own. Both teams continued to score, but ultimately the Gators prevailed 10-7 for their first midweek win since March 12th. Florida will look to ride this momentum as they prepare for a 3-game series this weekend at Missouri. Sticking with the Diamond, Florida softball was scheduled to play at Stetson tonight. However, the game has been postponed due to inclement weather. The number 10 ranked Gators will take on the Stetson Hatters tomorrow night in DeLand. Florida has won 9 of their last 10 and will look to continue their dominance as they head on the road. First pitch is scheduled for 6 p.m. At the high school level, lots of great baseball and softball games took place last night. First, we'll recap the local high school baseball games. The Newberry Panthers defeated the Gainesville Hurricanes 8-1 as they improved to 13-3. Meanwhile, PK Young had a pretty nice night offensively against Eastside, and no, that is not a typo. 26-5 was the final score in this one, and my goodness. And speaking of offense, Buchholz also performed well, scoring 13 runs in their win over Columbia. And over to softball, just as the boys did, the Newberry girls took care of business as they beat Bronson 13-3. Meanwhile, Hawthorne squeaked by Dixie County in a 5-4 nail-biter. And I'm not sure what was going on last night, but Union County scored 19 runs. They shut out Eastside on the road. Between baseball and softball, there were 45 total runs scored against Eastside last night. Over to the gymnastics, 4th-ranked Gators are getting set to host the NCAA Gainesville Regional with the opening round starting tomorrow. Florida will get things going by competing against Clemson and Iowa State tomorrow at 2 p.m. After this, the Gators will face 6 different schools on Friday afternoon, followed by either Clemson or Iowa State in the evening. If all goes according to plan for the Gators, they will find themselves in the Gainesville Regional Final Round, which will take place this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastside's football season may have ended months ago, but today, 4 seniors put pen to paper, taking that next step in their playing careers. Eastside players JT Cervantes, Jaden Mans, Reshawn Mays, and Thomas Young all signed their national letters of intent in front of family and friends earlier this afternoon. Mans, Young, and Mays will be reuniting after graduating at Livingston College, while Cervantes will attend Brevard College. One last note, Florida football has announced that the 2024 homecoming game will be played against Kentucky. The Gators will host the Wildcats on October 19th, and they'll look to snap a 3-game losing streak in front of a packed Swamp.
Well, hopefully the weather for that game will be better than what we've been seeing today, right?
Yeah, thankfully we're looking at much better conditions as we head into the remainder of the week. Mostly sunny conditions tomorrow, and then clouds return to the forecast for Monday. So a couple of clouds around for the eclipse, but temperatures make their way back into the upper 80s.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
Your North Central Florida news is always on at WFT.org and on all our social platforms. Have a good night.